What's good, radical red enthusiasts? So, this is the next video of this radical red playlist that I want to achieve, or tier list, sorry, where we started with the typings that are really good and really bad, and now we are moving on to Pokemon. And I'm just going to do it type by type in each video because otherwise, well, that would be a joke. So, normal types first. These are in alphabetical order. The categories are almost always will probably get used if you have it. Not many of these will slot into this row. Usually usable, just straight up usable. Ability dependent, meaning that this Pokemon in particular might depend on its ability to be viable. Niche means there's like certain, like whether it's based on their moves or their typing, there's certain situations in Radical Red Hardcore that this Pokemon could be useful for. And then unusable is just completely garbage, not worth grabbing. Yeah, so we'll get started with Ambipom. Ambipom is his ability is normally Technician, which helps him. So he's not as good of a Pokemon with a random ability. But his moves are. He also does not get Fake Out. So right away that puts him in probably ability dependent or unusable, right? He does get U turn, which is cool. His base speed is like 115 ish. So we're going to put him in unusable because it's not good. Arboliva grass normal type. This is basically unusable. Like you're never requiring a grass normal type throughout hardcore radical red. And it's got like decent special bulk, but I've tried using this in like Misty round one, and it doesn't even really do that well in Misty round one for like the Ludicolo or something. It's not great, and it also doesn't get leech seed in hardcore. So like that's like most of this Pokemon's thing. Arceus, I mean 720 base stats. It is forced normal type. I don't think you get plate. I actually have no idea, but I'm pretty sure you don't get plates. And with a random ability, plates sort of probably don't work on this thing without its ability as normal type. Although there might be like a coding error where the plates still do work, and it also has an ability. But whatever. This Pokemon is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's held back by just simply being a normal type. And there's not even for high stat normal types, like without setup, you like there's not really a good battle except maybe like I don't know if this thing gets any good dark type moves. It does get Shadow Claw. So maybe you could use this as a Morty answer for his Dusk Noir with a Chople Berry. But then if you get burned, then you're gonna wish you didn't bring this. But I'll put it in ability dependent because if this thing has a good ability, it can actually be good. And by good ability, I mean like basically huge power or feline prowess. Those are the only two abilities that make a pure normal type very good outside of the early game. If you get this in the early game, I don't know what its move pool is early on, but I mean, you could slash a lot of things, or honestly, you could probably scratch a lot of things, and it'll be all right. So anything that has a mega, I'm just gonna be treating it as a mega. So Mega Audino is basically practically unusable. I think it is a normal fairy type, which is doesn't really help it. I mean, yeah, it really doesn't help it. Like, sure, you can no longer resist fighting type as a fairy, so it's like slightly worse, I guess. Having normal stab doesn't matter, and this thing's stats are just never good enough to be useful. Beware is actually pretty useful. You could He's bulky enough to be put in a decent amount of situations and sort of get away with it. Although actually, I guess anything Beware can do, Arceus can also do. So I'll just put Arceus in usable. And obviously, just any good ability is just gonna make it better. But Beware is similar. He's just nice because he also has a fighting type, so he can be used for like honestly like Bugsy. Like Beware actually does pretty well against Scissor, surprisingly, because he learns he learns Rock Smash. I think by level up, um, and he also gets low sweep. Not that low sweep matters for Scissor, but like past Surge, I can't imagine Beware having a whole lot of utility. He gets outstatted real fast by just the fact that there's a bunch of good Pokemon at that point of the game. Um, but he might also have some utility in the sand route, assuming you go sand route. This thing has absolutely zero utility in the ice and fire routes. Yeah, because they have a lot more special attackers. The sand route has more, like, generally more physical threats. Um, yeah. So, and his ability is like his base ability is not even that good, fluffy. The ability doesn't matter too much. It just makes him better if you get a good one. All right, Bibroll. Yeah, no, this is this poke. It's unusable for sure, unusable. So Chansey's not on this tier list because this is only fully evolved. But Chansey and Blissey, regardless, they would be in the exact same tier. And that tier is basically required. I should almost just change this from almost always to like required for a good successful run. Because Blissey and Chansey both, like if you get a Chansey and you catch it and you like the ability, that is all the reason to just go beat Whitney and grab the Eviolite for it because Blissey is, I guess, technically better. No, uh, I mean, Blissey gets leftovers, right? So Blissey with a good ability is better than Chansey with a good ability and leftovers. But Chansey with a good ability and an Eviolite is better than Blissey without a good ability. So like they're both dead good, and they solve so many threatening special attackers that it's crazy. Yeah, it actually confuses me how this Pokemon is as good as it is when you look at its stats. Like I don't know. I guess it's just HP makes that much of a difference. Bouffalon is like not good enough. Actually, now that I'm looking and thinking about the fact that the normal types are normal types, there's not going to be a lot of good ones. Um, I guess simply just because he's a flying type, like if you have a Braviary, Braviary might fit into certain niche requirements where if you can like beat one Pokemon and then you can or you can swap it into a ground move. Like if there's like some trainers only have five Pokemon and you have like a kind of an extra slot to use as like an answer or a pivot, um, and like any flying Pokemon could be an answer for ground moves and then baiting whatever rock move or something. Cast form is completely unusable. Chatot is, I guess, just because of the flying type niche. Minchino? Yeah, Minchino is, I mean, it's kind of similar to Ambipom, in like it's the moves that it's learned. I don't quite know how their stats are different, but either way, it doesn't get its like tidy up setup move in hardcore, so it's garbage. Cyclizar, I have no idea. I mean, it's a normal dragon, which is bad. Yeah, no, this thing without Shed Tail, this thing just is not good. Delcatty is unusable, for sure unusable. This thing is, I mean, it's a ground type, right? So kind of ability dependent. No, actually, it's not ability. No, it's bad, but it's a ground type. So just because of its typing, we'll put it in niche. If it's your only ground type, you are likely to actually use it at some point. Ditto is unusable. Dodrio, for the same reason as Braviary, we'll put it in niche. Drampa for this. Actually, no. No, surprisingly, Drampa's pretty good because it's like Pokemon that are really slow are actually useful in like certain. Like I've used a Drampa in Sabrina and it does well. It did real well. I sacked it for sure, sacked it, but I just used it to get through like the Magearna because it learns Flamethrower. And I don't remember what its ability was, but I for sure the only reason I was using it was because it had a good ability. Um, or maybe its ability was Berserk and I had a citrus on it, or no, that's its base ability. Its base ability is to Berserk, but it was something like that. Either I rolled its base ability, or but it does decent in Sabrina. If it has a good ability, it's slow and it actually has decent special attack, and it learns a lot of different TMs. So like yeah, and Dragon doesn't have that many weaknesses. Besides, like, the worst one is like fairy, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Ice and dragon and fighting are, I mean, fighting's a bad weakness, but you're never bringing him to a fight with fighting. But yeah, double, unusable. The Dunsparce is like, I mean, it's usable in the same sense that Beware is. Like, its stats are just good enough to be used. And then I don't know what this is. I'm assuming this is just Dunsparce, or I don't know what that is. Uh, Exploud is garbage. Farfetch'd is, I guess, neat. Yeah, whatever. He's niche because he's a flying type, so whatever. Normal Psychic is a decent. A it's decent. It's slow for the same reason that Drampa. It's like not as slow as Drampa, but it might have better. It for sure has better bulk. So you're just gonna use it in situations where you need like a slow Pokemon that can just sit in a double battle and get off multiple attacks, or it could be an answer to like a ghost, like a ghost answer for Morty or something. Maybe. I don't know if this survives a sludge wave from Mega Gengar, but if it does, this might be a Mega Gengar answer if you can bait the Shadow Ball somehow. Um, Pharaoh, for the same reason, we'll put him in niche. Furfrou is garbage. I mean, Sentret is garbage. Grafai in hardcore is garbage probably because he doesn't get access to any of his moves that make him unique. Like he doesn't have access to hazards or wait, actually, does this thing get the move where he says something that vexes the enemy and then their stats drop and he goes back? I don't know. Probably not. But he does get U-turn. And I think actually he might get fake out as well. So honestly, we'll just put him in ability dependent for that. Like any Pokemon that gets fake out U-turn is just immediately like ability dependent because yeah, he's not quite fast enough to fill like the role of being a really good fake out U-turner, but whatever. This is unusable. Greedent. Gumshoos is unusable. An electric type with decent special attack and decent speed, but terrible bulk. Classic electric type, maybe. Like if there's a situation where you need an electric type that also resists or is immune to ghost, which the only thing I can think of is like the jelly scent in Sabrina, but that thing is likely to click water spout anyways, so this is never a safe switch in. Unless he rolls his base ability, which is dry skin. Um, we'll put him in niche. I feel like there's a situation where you want to be immune to a shadow ball on a like a ghost shadow, like on a ghost water Pokemon. Which the only one I can think of is the double battle in before Celadon City. But it's hard to bait. It's hard to bait a shadow ball against that Pokemon. Yeah, but it's like pretty niche. Indeedee stats aren't as good as Farigaraph's, but it's like it's still we'll put it in niche. It's not as good of a battler as Farigiraf, but because it's a normal psychic, it could theoretically achieve maybe the same things that Farigiraf can in certain matchups. Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan is nah. I'm just gonna put Kangaskhan in unusable because like without its ability, Mega Kangaskhan like doesn't really do a good enough job. And Kangaskhan just doesn't have enough stats to be used as like say if it was like the same way like a high base normal type is used like slacking. Just garbage. Kecleon, garbage. Licky Licky, garbage. Zigzagoon, garbage. Mega Lopunny is very usable. It's basically just a good version of a fake out U-turner. That, yeah, that's about it. Fake, like you just mega your Lopunny in like a double fight, double battle or something. You just fake out and then U-turn. And if it gets a good ability, it's great. Uh, Mousehold is I don't even think this is Mousehold. This is the other one. Whatever. It's the same as Minchino and like whatever other ones I put in here. Ambipom, Minchino. It's not very good. It does get Population Bomb, but like Population Bomb would be a sick move if you could like. You know what? Actually, because it gets Population Bomb, I'll just put it in ability dependent, and maybe if it gets like depending on its ability, it will have an opportunity to one shot something here and there. Like one shot somebody's lead Pokemon or something. Miltank is I'll put it in ability dependent because its speed is like decent enough. It's not like or actually you know what I'll put Kangaskhan in ability dependent as well because obviously if you're getting like a huge power or like a fur coat Mega Kangaskhan, you're gonna use it for sure. Miltank's the same way. Like if it has a good ability or a useful ability, it is usable in some situations. Noctowl, I don't even know. what the typing is of this in Radical Red. No, it's not a psychic type. Yeah, it's a normal flying. And I mean, it's pretty specially bulky. So in the early game, and also it's a flying type, right? So it's niche. But outside of most of these other ones, this one is definitely the bulkiest starting bird besides Corviknight, and especially on the physical side, it's the bulkiest of the starting birds. So it can definitely go into niche, and yeah. Obstagoon as well. Obstagoon is pretty usable. He's like sort of ability dependent, but just not as much. And plus his actual signature move doesn't do damage, so it doesn't really matter what his ability is. But yeah, if you get an Obstagoon, you are for sure using it throughout the mid game a lot, and even the early game. Um, I forget what this Pokemon is called. It's called Winkalone. Winkalone. Um, yeah, they're or wait, I forget which one is statted which way, but one of these is slightly bulkier. This one is bulkier, and for the same, it's not as fast as Miltank, but in the same situations, sort of as Miltank, it can be used in the same sense. It just has less attack and less speed, and possibly more bulk, or maybe it just has less base stats in total. But yeah, the other one, this one, maybe I've just never used this one, but I think it just has slightly less bulk at in in exchange for like more attack and more speed slightly, which is stupid. Oranguru, we'll put him in niche for the same reason as Indeedee, basically the same sort of Pokemon. He just gets like weird moves that are difficult, or maybe in hardcore he doesn't even get those types of moves. I don't know. He still might get some weird moves that are uncommon to use. Persian is garbage. I mean, Mega, we'll just put it in niche. It's a flying type, right? And if your Mega Pidgeot is cracked, then cool. Porygon Z, we'll put him in ability dependent just because his special attack is really good, but his speed sucks. So if there's like it would require an ability to slot him into some situation that he's useful for to be used. Perugly, we'll put it for the exact same reason as Miltank, but the only difference here is that Perugly is stronger than Miltank and faster. And it learns Fake Out, and it learns U-Turn. So it's still ability dependent because you're not going to be using this unless you get a sick ability. Pyroar is normal fire type. Maybe just because he has a ghost immunity and good stats, so he could be used in like into a ghost move, into a and then use a fire move on it. Maybe. Eradicate is garbage. Honestly, like Ghost Dark Eradicate is pretty much garbage too. Even with the Dark Stab, I don't think this thing is usable. Regigigas. I mean, you would think like, oh, almost always, but that is like when you get this or a Slaking and you're like, oh, not like just a random ability. Oh, they're gonna be busted. But in Radical Red, it's a pure normal type. Pure normal types are difficult, for sure difficult to just force into every battle because it just limits their defensive utility, with the exception of Blissey. I mean, Blissey is broken. But I don't think I'll put him down a tier just behind Arceus because he like just he gets like decent coverage, right? Like he gets all the punches, and you could definitely find a way to use him. It's just he's gonna like they're just not as powerful as you think they are because they're like normal type. They get terrible stab. Yeah. Sawsbuck. Grass normal, so it's like a physical version of Arboliva. Um, we'll put it in garbage for the same reason as Arboliva. Yeah, you're not gonna find a whole lot of situations. This one is weird because it technically is. Eh. So I'm tempted to put this at the top of ability dependent because this thing gets 18 different abilities after the or before the seventh gym, after the sixth gym. But ability dependent, like you will likely like you are almost guaranteed to be getting a good ability on one of these types. It just sort of depends on which type it is. But it's still kind of cool to have every accent, like every 120, every stab type with a 120 base power is kind of cool. Um, but up until like the beginning of the late game, right? It's only going to be a normal type. So I don't know. We'll just put it in ability dependent, but it's good. It's definitely a high priority catch for sure. Slate King, same reason as Regigigas. I just don't think he's. Well, I guess on the physical side, he is as good, right? Slate King's actually just better on the physical side, whereas Gigas is just above average for both. Having one, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's in the same boat as Regigigas. Like, he's just, if you don't get an ability that, like, you'll find ways to use him, but he's just not going to be as good as you want him to be. Smeargle is unusable. Snorlax is niche, I guess. Like, like, I guess we'll put him in ability dependent. Honestly, we're gonna move him like up to the top, just because he's he's got enough bulk and he's got enough attack. Well, he's got enough special bulk to like be useful in some sort of a special thing. Like, yeah, yeah. He's kind of like just a way less good version of Blissey, but he hits on the physical side rather than the special side. So sometimes that might work out a little bit better than Blissey. And he can take like a U-turn or something, which Blissey cannot. um, where are we? Oh, we're at Spinda, right? Spinda, garbage. Yeah, never using it. Squawk ability, I guess niche just because it's a flying type, and I'm gonna stick to that principle. Staraptor, actually no. Staraptor, no. You know what? If you get a good ability on a Staraptor, you're obviously gonna find a way to use it. Same with Braviary, actually. If you get a good ability on Braviary, wait, no, Braviary is not nearly as Braviary is like 85 base speed, and Staraptor is possibly the same, possibly 90. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I guess you could actually say the same thing for Noctowl even. And even no, probably not Pidgeot. Pidgeot's never Pidgeot's gonna be difficult to use. Um Stoutland is good stats, decently all around, still ability dependent. Like you're only gonna want to use that if it's one that has like intimidate or like nah, you're not even gonna use like you don't even want strong jaw on this or like reckless. You pretty much just want its base ability, which is intimidate, which makes it actually slightly usable. Swellow, we'll put it in knees. She's way more frail than these, so even with a good ability, like ah, I mean, there huge power does exist. I guess huge power, and it just destroys. So all the Tauroses, although no, we'll just treat this as the normal one. Pretty garbage, to be honest. Terapagos is usually usable. He's like, yeah, he's very usable. Yeah, just in all instances. The only thing is like he, like, I don't know. I don't really understand how this Pokemon functions in the base game. It's got like three different forms or something. But in Radical Red, it's just this one, and it's pretty decent all around. It's literally got like 600 base stats, just spread slightly differently than a mythical. Toucan is honestly, honestly, Toucan is or whatever his name is good simply because of his signature move. Like, Beak Blast is pretty cool. Beak Blast actually just straight up these tiers make it seem like an ability dependent Pokemon is better than a niche Pokemon. Um, and I don't know, is that true? Maybe that's a fine way to stick to, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Unfazon is just niche for the same reasons that like Pharaoh is. Ursaluna will put in like usable. Um, yeah, I actually like this one better than the Blood Moon because his stats are like better spread in my opinion. Like you'd rather have garbage special attack and equal defense and special defense, um, and a lot of attack rather than having a lot of special attack, a decent amount of attack, and then garbage defense, or garbage special defense. So yeah, yeah. Blood Moon Ursaluna, yeah, for the same reason, I guess, as Ursaluna. I mean, some people like using him. I guess I much prefer this one. It's the Ursaluna, but Ursaluna, Blood Moon, I suppose can be used. Like, if you really want to use it, you could probably use it in a lot of different ways. Watchhog is garbage. Even with a good ability, that thing is not great. Really tough, like for the same reason as Audino. This thing's just never getting used. Even sitting next to Mega Audino. Where is Mega? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, yeah. This thing is ability dependent. It has terrible moves. It doesn't learn any special, like, it learns like fantastic physical moves just on its own, but its physical attack is less than its special attack. And, like, it does learn some good special TMs. It's just kind of weird. This Pokemon is kind of weird, but if you get like a good ability on it, it is like I've gotten a fur coat one, and that thing did well. I think I even used the fur coat Rudolph for trying the Bruno fight. I think this with fur coat handles the Sneasler for sure. Yeah, it definitely handles. I mean, it handles a lot. Let's be honest. It probably handles everything. Like this with a Colbert berry could probably handle the Glade. Um, Zangoose. I mean, its stats are cool, right? The Pokemon itself is just straight up sick. So for that reason, because it's a sick looking Pokemon, if it gets a good ability that makes its like average stats good, then yeah, you're gonna want to use that for sure. And then Zoroark is just niche. There's like, well, actually, you know what Zoroark does handle? Zoroark is another convenient tool or piece of the Bruno puzzle that solves your Annihilate answer, sort of. Like with a citrus berry, it takes two ice punches, and then, but I'm not sure how it changes. Yeah, I'm not sure. But he for sure takes two ice punches. I'm just not sure if it bulks up what it how that changes the math. But this thing did handle the Annihilate and Bruno. If you want to try Bruno and end your run. So I guess that's all the fully evolved normal type Pokemon for Radical Red. Leave a comment. Oh, and for Blissey, it's Blissey and Chansey up here. So yeah, leave a comment if you're unhappy that yeah, that Silvally is in ability dependent. Uh, yeah, it is, bitch. All right. Peace, peace.